Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Coming up, we will drink a toast in the weekend on this positive Friday. Then it's Bad Choice Friday time.
You know it's Bad Choice Friday.
It's Bad Choice Friday!
You know it's Bad Choice Friday.
Hey, man, this is your fault!
And it's a Heat-inspired Bad Choice Friday featuring Glenn Fry.
The heat is on.
I really don't like this song.
I love it. What Glenn Fry guy?
This song and that other one he does.
Glenn Fry had a ton of hits.
He did. I mean, he did very well. This is just not my favorite Glenn Fry song.
Okay.
And he was with
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah.
I do love Glenn Fry.
Okay.
Oh, well, now you do.
Yeah, well, moment like this.
If you don't like Glenn Fry, you can always vote for Bananarama. Here's our little Bad Choice Friday. Just follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live. One of those two tunes coming up right after we drink and toast with a shot of the day. Our question, who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
We had a guy who called in, and he was Wild Waves 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Throw punched.
He gets throw punched by the mom of a kid that he rescued from drowning. I mean, the kid had it bad, right? Anyway, but the mom doesn't know what's going on because, God forbid, you pay attention to your kid.
She found out and didn't apologize.
Still didn't apologize, but punches dude in the throat. So somebody texts in and says, hearing that guy's story, it reminded me of the time I was at Disney in Orlando. I was about 14 at the water park when I noticed a little girl having problems getting to the dock. I grabbed her, got her out of the water. She was having a hard time breathing and all the stuff that happens when you drown. Anyway, her dad saw everything and thanked me and my mom and bought my whole family a big Disney lunch at Mickey Mouse Club.
Ooh, that was probably pricey.
Yeah, I think that's his point. So you either get throat punch or get a free dinner. You never know.
Different level of class there.
Yeah.
Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so this story takes place a few years ago when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Las Vegas. I got off work a little early and started driving. It was about a 40-minute trip back to the house. About halfway, some inclement weather started rolling in, and the visibility dropped to about zero, and people were pulling over to the side of the road.
Was it because was it fog or rain?
Heavy rain.
Okay.
Yeah, super thick, heavy rain. And some people were trying to turn around in the median, but the median was very steep. And so back in the day, I drove a 95 Grand Marquis, so it was like a really long car. And my car ended up getting stuck in the median as I was trying to turn around. And I saw somebody else's car get stuck as well, maybe like 100 yards ahead of me. The median started to flood, like super fast. I got out of there. But it turns out that there was an old woman in the car ahead of mine that was stuck. She couldn't open her door, and she couldn't climb over the center median. So me and some dudes sprinted down to their car and got into the flood water, which was about waist high by the time we were trying to help her out. And we pulled her out of the car and took her to safety. And then I ended up getting swept away myself. My buddy pulled me out. But, yeah, it was crazy. I ended up taking my car away and, carrying it all the way down the highway.
Did the woman that you pulled out of the car, did she throw punch you?
I would have been impressed, but she didn't.
Trying to see if that's a common thread today.
How far did you get swept down before your buddy got you out?
Maybe 10 yards.
Okay. And so was that the end of the Grand Marquis?
Yep, unfortunately.
Okay, because back in the day, that was the only that was confusing. Sometimes you look in your rearview mirror, then once you identified the Mercury, you knew it wasn't a cop.
Right. Yeah,
exactly. That's kind of the way that went down, if I remember.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people slowed down when he rolled up.
You could take a nap in that trunk.
Oh yeah, that's a big ass car.
I mean, that car was absolutely. You could go over a pothole that was 3 feet deep, man,
and not know.
You wouldn't even feel it, man. You could turn the wheel a quarter-inch, car wouldn't move. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, that wheel had so much play in it. You could just go back and forth like this with your hands, man. A car wouldn't even move.
Drive like the Dukes of Hazzard.
My buddy had what was the old one? The Bonaventure.
Bonneville?
Or Bonneville?
Yeah.
That was a big car, too.
Yeah, I remember
So we
that.
bought a little, vanity license plate that said the boat.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing. We would drive, and he would just shake the wheel back and forth, and it was like an amusement ride. It was just shocking.
It was like all those old GM cars like that. It was like you're floating on a cloud of boobs.
Yeah.
Who rescued who, and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
It was kind of awesome.
Hello, Manuel. Welcome to the men's room.
Tequilas and the donas.
Hola.
Hola.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm on this nice positive Friday.
That's right.
Positive Friday.
What's that? Hola. I'm right here with Butthead. I just want to say the stories real quick. I have two stories. One, I was over here in Los Angeles, and I happened to be at this transaction light, this cross-section light, and I saw an accident happen right in front of me. One car hit another car head on. So I go and run to one of the cars to see if they're okay, because the other one, the one that caused the accident, got out kind of upset because they caused the accident. So I helped. On the other car, it was a old lady in the passenger seat, and the driver was her son. Her son's ankle was hurting, but I went to carry her out, and I guess she was dazed and confused because when I carried her out and I put her to safety, she looked at me and she yelled at me, asking me why I hit her.
At least you get a throat punch.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, I didn't get no throat punch, but I just reassured her. No, ma'am, I just happened to see the accident, and I'm just here to help you. I was not involved in the accident. My car's over there. There's my family over there. So thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But
and was her son okay?
No, the son stood there in the corner for a while until the police came over. He said his ankle hurt. They took him to the paramedics, but he seemed fine. Like there was no blood or anything like that, so he seemed okay. But as we rescue others, we have to get rescued as well. So I had an incident happen to me when I was 8 years old. I was in San Felipe, Mexico, and I was so excited to go swimming in the pool they have. And they have shallow side, they have a deep end. My mom put on my trunks, and I just zipped right out the hotel, and I jumped in the pool not knowing I went to the deep end instead of the shallow area. So I swam, realized I wasn't touching the floor. I swam up trying to grab the ledge, but the level of water compared to where the ledge is at so I can grip it was too far for my little hands. So I was under there for about a minute trying to grab, and all of a sudden I felt some people grab my arms and pulled me up, and it was like 5, 6 old people yelling at me in Spanish. And my Spanish wasn't great at the time, so I just kind of stood there and I just kind of sidestepped. And I went back to the hotel. My parents found out. My dad said, "Oh, you're okay." I'm okay. But my mom, of course, with the death stare, said, "Watch when we get home."
Oh, yeah. God damn.
Then she went over and throw punched one of the guys that pulled you out.
Oh, my mom was like that, though. She didn't kick your butt right away because we got back on the following Sunday. We go home, and I went straight to sleep because, you already know your mom's about to kick your butt. I went straight to sleep. I woke the next morning, went to school. I'm like, "Bye, Mom." She goes, "Don't think I forgot what happened." So I went through the whole school day until I got home, and then she got me good.
Flip-flop to the head?
Oh, no. I was lucky if I got one of those. I got the spray bottle with the paddle on the butt.
Damn. Oh, because you jumped in the deep side.
Yeah, my mom whooped my butt for something, anything.
Okay. All right. She's a future throat puncher. I can feel it.
Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
I will say, a rescue in Mexico, the thing to rescue me, my tattoos, all right? So they have these little things called in Mazatlan, Mexico, they have these little things called pulmones, these gas-powered golf carts, essentially. And you use them in place of taxis. They're cheap. They get you where you're going. Now, normally, my wife has a good sense of direction. And she had to go to this one store kind of on the other side of town, okay? So we get out of this thing, and And I keep saying to her, I said, babe, man, seriously, I do not think this is where the store is that you're looking for, man. I think it's farther down. She's like, no, I got it. This is the place. So we start walking through this neighborhood. It's a residential neighborhood. She finally agrees with me. Okay, we're in the wrong spot, but there's a highway, right? The main highway through town. We'll just walk over there. It's about 400 yards away. We'll get up to the highway, flag down another pulmonia, and we'll get where we're going. But before we get there, there's these 3 big-ass gang dudes across the street, right? And there's nothing worse than you see guys engage in conversation, then they look at you, then they stop the conversation, and then they begin to approach you. So I'm like, God damn it, man. I go, if we survive this, I'm going to kill you. But I said, look, here's going to be the deal, because we know what's about to happen, all right? So I said, I can buy you, based on these 3 guys that are sheer size and what they're very obviously up to, I can buy you probably a quarter of a second.
You take off running.
But you got to get up to the highway. I said, and this is how we're going to play it. So this guy approaches me, kind of the leader of this pack rolls up. Where are you going, man? I was like, well, obviously we are lost, Jack. Then he goes, I like your tattoos. And I don't quite know what he's implying by this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to rape you, or I legitimately like the artwork on your body. So I said, thanks, man. I like your tattoos. That was a lie. I did not like his tattoos. They were garbage. But I was not going to tell him this at the time, right? But I was like, oh, I like yours too. Where'd you get them? I said, my tattoos? Say, yeah. I said, some in Baltimore, got this one in Philly, and most of them in Seattle. He goes, I got some homies in Seattle. So I bet you do, man. So we start talking Seattle. Right? I'm like, okay, things are looking up. Meanwhile, the 2 cats behind him are still mean mugging me, man. And I mean, there's people can mean mug you, and you can look back like, I kicked that guy's ass. I'm not sweating it. These guys, like, I got 0 chance, right? I mean, there's nothing. So I'm talking to this leader guy, and so he starts talking about Seattle, some of the time he spent in prison up here. Oh, man, I did time up there. I'm thinking, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So he goes, I'll tell you what, man. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm going to walk you. You just get up to the highway, and you don't come back. I said, player, I don't even want to be here now, which he found kind of funny. But he escorted us a little bit. We got to the highway. We got out of there. I just looked at my wife. I said, God damn it, man, listen. We're in a foreign country. We can't F around and not exactly know where we're going. I'm like, that guy's scared the living S out of me. Terrifying, man. I thought, like, this is it. This is it. But I like your tattoos.
Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
I did time up there.
Oh, yeah, he's straight up, dude. Oh, I got homies in Seattle. I'm like, yeah, man, I did time up there. I'm like, oh, goddamn, I hope this goes well for me, man. This is uncomfortable. Hello, Madison. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, Madison, who rescued who?
I and a bunch of other guys rescued a pair of F-18s that had to divert to an airfield on Wake Island.
What was the situation?
Let me guess, Russians.
Say what?
Nothing, go ahead.
One, there was a terrible hydraulic fluid leak, which was my job to fix, and another one had some sort of engine trouble. So we got to fly out on a C-130, spend about 4 days over there, about 3 hours of actual work, and 2-3 days of relaxing on our butts and fishing and whatnot in the middle of a tropical island.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. What, was that like a commercial break or something?
I said to Mike earlier, is there some pacing issue today?
Maybe. I hope the story was done.
Who rescued who and from what? They'll call back. 206-421-ROCK.
And by the way, someone chimes in here, says, Thrill, Mazatlan's crazy. I've had some coke and alcohol fueled vacations there. I just responded, me too. Hello, George. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I was in Mexico when I was probably about 8 years old on a family Christmas trip, and we decided we were going to go to it was a river, but it had a bunch of smooth rocks that you could kind of slide down like slides.
All right.
So me and my sisters and stuff were sliding down there. My uncle and dad, the parents are staying out of the water, and then everyone starts packing up. My mom says, you can go down one more, and then we're leaving. So I decided I'm going to go up the really big one that I didn't do the entire time. Sure enough, it's another drowning story in Mexico, and I slide down. I go under. There's like a pit spot, and everybody was already up by the truck, ready to leave. And super vivid, it's probably 17 years ago, sitting underneath the water and grabbing up, and, it's just wet rocks and not being able to keep myself up, and then my big fat uncle jumps in with me and pulls me out fully clothed, and he saved my life. I was totally drowning.
But you still call him your big fat uncle. Thank God it wasn't my big fat, ugly, impotent, partially bald uncle with back fat and
covered in skin tags, but he saved my life.
Saved my life. God, I love that man. Big fat, love my big fat uncle. Okay.
My big fat one, yeah.
Our question, who rescued who and from what?
We should ease up on the insults on the life-saving uncle.
My big fat ugly uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Thank God for him.
With the huge ears. Who rescued who?
Crappy
and from what?
car.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad job. That uncle.
Can't keep a date.
The one with the brown teeth?
Right.
Yeah, saved my life.
Yeah.
He goes to Thailand for the beaches.
Couch surfing. Big fat uncle. Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
The best defense is a good offense. So before the sewer backs up into your home and wreaks havoc, stop freaking and call Beacon. Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical is there for you when you need them most. 1-800-FREAKIN or beaconplumbing.net.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
Coming up, the exciting return of Ted versus the FCC right after emails on our question, who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Guess who it is, Ted?
James?
James, welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so my story takes place up in Darrington. My buddy calls me. It's Friday, just about to get off work. He's like, hey, let's go camping. I'm like, let's go. So grab my tent. We're hauling up the hill, trying to get to the camp spot. It's dark, we can't see anything. And all of a sudden, he goes flying off, and I don't see him anymore. I come around the corner, and his truck's hanging off the road. I'm like, oh, he went into the ditch, Well, I come walking up. I turn my flashlight on. Right as I turn my flashlight on, I see a huge hole. He landed in the side of a 25-foot sinkhole.
Oh, my God.
Jesus,
came out of nowhere. If he was 3 foot to the right, he would have been down in the bottom, and him and his girlfriend probably would have died.
How deep do you think the sinkhole was?
It was about 25 feet.
Yeah, man, that's terrifying.
Does that mean his truck or whatever was gone? I mean, were they able to pull it out?
We were able to get it out, but it was sitting on the side. The front and rear diff were holding it from falling in. The passenger side was completely hanging off the hole.
So did you have to call a tow truck, or were you able to figure out a way to pull it out on your own?
Well, we're up in Darrington, and we got some ingenious rednecks to come up with some come-alongs. We were able to get it out with 2 come-alongs and 2 other trucks. But, I had to crawl in the back of his truck to get the beer because I was the only one brave enough to do it.
Even though it's hanging over a sinkhole, I'm getting that
life
beer.
and limb for natural light.
I'm thirsty.
Right.
I get that.
It happens, man. I get it.
Jesus.
God damn, did you see the, I think it was 2 weeks ago maybe? Was it India or somewhere in Asia, I believe, but there's a parking lot. There's a bunch of cars parked there, and a sinkhole, they have, their security cameras set up or whatever, and the sinkhole just opens out of nowhere, swallows one person's car. All the other cars are fine, right? So if there's 100 cars in the parking lot, the sinkhole opens, and you see one car completely falls in. The ones beside it, they're real close.
Yeah.
But they don't go in. I don't know why, but that would piss me off even more. Like, wait a minute. A sinkhole opened under my car.
I got a good spot here. I'm going to park here.
Yeah.
Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey, real quick, I've always wanted to try this. This gray Saturn with the 302 bumper sticker. Hold a thumbs up if you're listening. Anyways, we'll find out in like 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So my story goes about 5-6 years ago. I don't know if you guys heard about like the 3-year-old that drowned at Lake Washington over by Coulon.
I don't know, man. There's so many drownings, it's hard to keep up. What are you on, a CB?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was working a job over there, and 3-year-old kid had crawled through the fence at a park nearby, went over the dock and fell into the water. It was probably maybe 4 feet deep. A couple iron workers were working over there that day. Heard the mom screaming, and she jumped in and couldn't lift the kid out of the water. So one of the iron workers dropped his belt and runs over and gets the kid out and then gives him CPR until the paramedics come. Saved his life.
Oh, cool. Oh, good. All right, good.
Are you on a CB radio? Over.
But my favorite part about that story. What's that?
Your phone keeps breaking up, man. It
sounds like you're on a CB radio. Over.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's an old phone. I'm cheap.
Okay.
Anyways, my favorite part about that story is the guy that saved the kid's life got in a fight.
He did what?
He got in a fight like the day before, and typically you get kicked off site no matter what. And for whatever reason, they let him stay, and then he saved the kid's life the next day.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Go back and tell your boss, like, F you. Give me grief for fighting.
Who rescued who and from what? Interesting day here. 206-421-ROCK.
It's been strange.
I know, man.
No.
Hello, True. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how's it going? So I got this story. I was about 12 years old or so. And my mom took me and my sister down to the swimming pool in our apartments we were living in. And, I thought I was cool. I was going to be doing some tricks into the pool, like some 360s, maybe a front flip if I'm feeling risky. And so I go to jump and do a 360, and I didn't jump out far enough, I guess. And I hit my chin on the edge of the pool, the concrete, and completely blacked out from there. So this is from what I was told by my mother. But I started in the pool, and it started filling up with blood because my chin was literally hanging off my face. And so my mom's boyfriend jumps into the pool of blood and picks me up from the water, throws me on, and they had to call the paramedics. And as I said, literally my chin was dangling off my face. And so then the paramedics came. I ended up waking up, but I don't remember this part. And they took me to the hospital, gave me about 14 stitches or so in the chin to reattach it. And, then that was pretty much it. It was a little short story.
So do you have a scar or anything now?
Yeah, I actually have a big scar on the bottom of my chin, and my beard doesn't grow hair there, so it's kind of a little bald.
What do you tell people happened? Like shark attack? I mean, you got any good stories?
Yeah, I
Knife
usually
fight?
tell them that I fought like a mountain lion.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's much better.
Let me ask you this. So is it more pronounced with the beard because the hair doesn't grow there, or is it more pronounced without the beard?
It's more pronounced without the beard.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my beard's pretty long, so it covers it up pretty well.
Okay, all right. You still trying to do front flips?
Yeah, actually, now that I'm older and I'm not as dumb, I know what I'm doing now, so.
Okay. Yeah, wait till next year when he calls in. Man, oh man, fully grown adult. Hit my chin again.
Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tanner. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
So I've been snowmobiling for 20 years now. I'm only 25, so it's been a lifelong addiction of debt and no money. But on March 15th of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, when everything was kind of going off, we were going to snowmobile down at Mount St. Helens, and we lived over in Leavenworth, so we decided to make a weekend out of it and drove over to the west side, stayed with some family, and then that morning we went down to start riding there. There was a group of probably 30 of us, half the group we didn't even know. We didn't know who was all going to show up, and we started riding and got into this big meadow with a bunch of hills, and everybody took off, every which direction. Nobody knew where anybody was at, and I decided to go up a hill, and my snowmobile ended up losing traction, so I went to turn out. The sled rolled over on me from lack of momentum and couldn't keep going forward. and the track actually landed on my neck with me face first in the snow, and it stopped right on top of me, pinned underneath this 500-pound machine.
So you're face down. I'm guessing you can't breathe, right?
Yeah, so actually, when the track landed on my neck, it pulled my helmet back, and my helmet strap, which is supposed to save my life, ended up blocking all airflow on me.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
So how long till somebody figured out that you were under there?
So there was another guy right there, but I couldn't see anybody, and when I realized it was on me, I started fighting and couldn't get out from underneath of it. And at that point, I heard somebody on the radio say he's stuck under his sled. I don't know who it was, didn't know where they were at.
It was your big fat uncle.
I grabbed my radio and I tried to yell for help, but I couldn't talk. And at that point, like, panic really set in, like, oh God, I'm stuck here. Like, I can't move. So I just started fighting, hoping the sled would want to roll over me and get off of me, or I could get into spots where I could at least breathe. And at that point, I just blacked out. I don't remember anything from that until after all the stories were put together. It was probably exaggerating on some people's parts, but probably about 10 minutes before they were able to do CPR and revive me.
Oh, so you actually died, basically.
Yeah, so when everybody was able to get there, a couple guys lifted the sled off of me, and they pulled me face first out from under the snow, and they were trying to cut my helmet off because they didn't know what was all going on. Nobody could ever get the helmet off, so they called for a sharp knife on the radio, didn't give any explanation. So my now fiance's father was able to get up there, he hurried up, got up, and realized, oh crap, that's Tanner, like he's there, flipped me over, and was able to cut my helmet strap off. He pulled my helmet off, and he said I was blue like Violet Beauregard, off of Willy Wonka. And he said my eyes rolled back in my head, and I started having a seizure at that point. And so they tried to start to do CPR there, but the way my backpack, I have one of those self-inflating airbag backpacks, if you get caught in an avalanche, it could save you. Well, it was putting me in a position to where that they couldn't do CPR, so they had to take all that off. And he said they ended up doing compressions and a couple breaths, and I came to, and there was probably about a 10-minute window from where I was actually breathing and, coherent before I could actually remember what was going on.
Is it safe to say that your father-in-law's lips were on yours before your wife?
Unfortunately, yeah, I kissed a man that day.
Yeah. After that happens, are you able to get yourself together and get back on the snowmobile, or are you just out of it for days? You know what I mean? Like, are you able to get up and,
10 minutes without oxygen.
Right. So are you just wiped the hell out? Do you want to go and just crawl into a bed? I mean, how do you feel after this?
It took me a while. I was just, lightheaded. I didn't really know what was going on around me. I wake up and here's a bunch of people in front of me, and it took me a while to actually get my breath, and I just happened to look up over my shoulder up the hill, and here's still 2 or 3 guys holding the sled on the hill above us so it doesn't roll down on us. And I'm like, oh, I probably should, move out of the way so they can get a break here. I tried standing up and took a couple guys to help walk me down to another sled, and they helped me get my helmet on, and we rode down to the road, which was maybe 50 yards there. And at that point I got down, and there's about 30 people there, and half of the people I've known my whole life snowmobiling with, and I just broke down, and a lot of other people there, got real emotional, and it took a little bit, and everybody wanted to put me on another person and then ride me out. And I'm like, you guys, you know what? I'm possibly, really injured here. I don't want to be at the risk of anybody else. So I ended up riding my sled off of the mountain that day.
Okay.
Damn,
that's impressive.
So are you still a snowmobile fanatic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
had dislocated my shoulder this year, actually.
Okay.
Good times.
Something to look forward to next year, then.
Yeah, or a big crevasse. Who rescued who and from what? 206-421-ROCK.
Yeah, I would be hard-pressed to ever do that again.
Yeah. But, like he said, 20 years and he's 25. I get it. You're going to go back and do it because inevitably anything you do a lot, something's going to go wrong sooner or later, right?
Yep.
Somebody here says, Snowmobile's guy's life was probably saved by the snow. Say studies have shown that keeping someone on ice like that actually helps prevent the brain damage.
Yeah.
Right, because there was that football player for the Bills, I think a few years ago. He got, basically, he broke his neck on the field. But same thing, they've done this research where like they somehow chill the body real quick. And I think he ended up recovering and can walk again.
Really? Damn. Okay. Normally I don't like the cold, but in that case. Hello, Gino. Welcome to the men's room.
You're going to cut around?
Hola. Gino?
He's not listening.
Are you there, Gino?
We'll get back to Gino. Good Lord. Hello, Charlie. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So, I grew up in Alaska, and this happened to me when I was about 15, 16 years old. My godmother's husband had gone on a 4-day hunting trip out to the Aleutian Islands with a couple of his buddies that he worked with. He asked my mom and my brother and I to stay at the house with his wife because she had just had their first baby, and they, like, it'd been 45, 50 below for weeks at this point, so they were like, hey, we need somebody over here just in case anything happens. Well, about 2 days after we got into this, the diesel generator that they were using for electricity at the house blew up. So we were using heat tape and propane tanks to heat the water pipes going into the house. So my job was to go fill up the generators and change out the blast furnace that was on the propane tank. One morning before school, I go out there to change out the propane tank, and I noticed that it was a little wobbly, but I didn't think anything of it because, you know, it was old and trashed out. Turned the valve, started to smell gas a little bit. Again, didn't think anything of it because it's a propane tank, and I hit the igniter, and the entire valve head on this 5-gallon propane tank, brand new, full, explodes in flame.
Jeez.
So I panic, lose all complete conscious thought, and the only thing I can think of is if this thing goes, it's going to take out the whole house, and my whole family is inside. So I grab this thing and overhand throw it like a baseball into the woods. Well, normal people would have, you know, left it that way and just let it do its thing, but I decided that if it exploded, that it was probably going to knock trees down into the house. So like a dummy, I ran off into the woods and was shoveling snow onto the top of this propane tank trying to stop the flame from, you know, heating up the tank too much, and then managed to close the valve. Panicked as all heck.
But you did this successfully, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I ended up with like flash burns on my arm because when I picked it up, the flame from the head of the tank was shooting up the sleeve of my jacket, and I flash burned everything up to my elbow.
Would you ever live in those kind of situations, that circumstances again like that, where it's 50 below for weeks on end?
No.
I mean, would you like? Well, maybe you got a great job. Would you ever consider going back there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like my dream right now is to get enough money or get financially secure enough that I can buy about maybe 50 to 100 acres back home, build my, you know, Viking longhouse or, you know, old school castle on it, perimeter fence, moat, and then, you know, sequester myself from society because I just don't like the way things are going right now.
Yeah,
that's fair. Mm-hmm.
You know,
see, here's the problem with that.
Having neighbors. What's that?
See, but here's the problem. See, most people don't like what's going on right now. So you're going to do all that and end up with more neighbors. I came up here too.
So would you even in Alaska, would you be considered where you lived? Would that be out in the middle of nowhere, or were you guys kind of more in like an Anchorage type area?
So it would be considered suburbs because it was like 15, 20 minutes outside the main city. But you got to understand, like, Anchorage is the biggest city in Alaska, and it's like Tacoma.
Yeah,
it's not as big as Tacoma. We went there once, and it was, I mean, once you leave the city proper, like, I know it's suburbs because technically it's still kind of connected to the city, but it was the cut by my standard, man. It's in no time.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. They have churches out there bigger than the Kingdom.
I'm like, who the hell are those people going to these churches?
Where's 500 people? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to fit in that one because there's another one down the block. Like,
yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like, no one lives there. And we're like, these are the biggest churches you see. And there's a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. It's like, surely they have tennis courts in there or something.
Yes,
our question, who rescued who and from what? We've got your emails coming up next in the men's room at KISW.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Your home equity. It could be an untapped opportunity instead of an untouchable asset. Introducing HomeTap. HomeTap is an investor, not a lender. They give you cash in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Use it to pay off debt, make renovations, fund a business, or just live a better life. There's no interest or monthly payments to worry about. HomeTap. Get more from home ownership. Get more from life. Subject to eligibility, terms and conditions apply. Visit HomeTap.com to apply in minutes. That's HomeTap.com.